then comes back up to the surface,
Okay.
then it wiggles, comes back up to the surface. So you're sweeping it,
Okay.
sweeping it, and if the kingfish come up,
Mark Kitteridge is a special fisherman, experienced fisherman. He's here with me right now. Hi Mark.
g'day, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you
Sajad,
today?
isn't it?
Yeah, Sajad. So this is Mark, and last time I came here, this is fishing and hunting Albany.
It's North Shore.
North Shore. Yeah, so Mark gave me a very good suggestion and good lure, and it's worked. So that's why I'm here again, to meet Mark and just to share his experience with you guys. Mark, so you want to say something about yourself?
I think it's just, I'm glad that you did really well last time, and the great thing about fishing is that there's so many other really good options. So no matter what you decide on, like whether you know, there's so many different ways you can go fishing and do well. And I think that's the beauty of it. Like, it suits everyone, you know, whether you just want to do it in a very calm way, whether you want to be very active. And you know, also we've got some great fish that fight really hard, and some of them are so big.
Yeah.
And so it's a great journey to be on, and I see that, you know, you've done really well in your videos and everything.
Yeah.
So and to me, that's the whole thing. It's the travel, you know, it's the learning of things and getting better all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, you know, there's nothing better than fishing, because like there is something for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
I used to be the editor of a big fishing magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we used to be huge, but you know, print media is just about dead now. So I've come here instead. Before this, I used to be a sales rep for a fishing company.
So you know, like the Little Barrier area, many people they caught kingfish.
Yep.
Maybe you caught two.
I caught one last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, around about 12 kilos.
So what's you suggest for we need to use a live bait or any special lure?
Well, that's the great thing about kingfish, is that you can decide. Personally, I don't have time to, like, I used to catch some live baiting. In fact, so that's me there.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was on a jig. I've caught one on a live bait that was about the same size, and I caught one on a very large dead bait that was also about 100 pounds. They were.
Oh.
So it's really up to you. You can get the ones that I caught last week were on what we call poppers, but my friend actually did better than I did using what's called a stick bait, and they're actually just around the corner here. Some of them, we've got quite a few. So you use this type of thing here.
Oh, okay.
So I prefer the surface ones, like these ones here. These are just one type. We've got a lot of different ones.
What you mean, like surface?
Okay, so these are floating. So that means that they're going to be on the surface. And what you do is you cast them out as far as you can, and then you sweep it. And so the lure ducks underneath, does this sort of a wobble, then comes back up to the surface.
Okay.
Then it wiggles, comes back up to the surface. So you're sweeping it,
Okay.
sweeping it. And if the kingfish come up behind and they're just swirling but not taking, you shorten it up like that, so it goes zip, 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 and they'll take it. They usually take it if you do that. I mean, as I say, there's only one brand. There's a lot of the different manufacturers have their own. For example, the ones that I mostly use are the ones that I used to represent, which was Ocean Angler.
Okay.
And I've had a lot of success on it. The poppers, they're different to these. They actually have a cupped face, and what that does is when you bring it forward, it does a burst of spray, and it attracts the fish because it sounds like feeding fish on the surface.
Oh yeah.
And so they come up and all they see is your lure on the surface. It's very important that you splash it, then you leave it, then you splash it, then leave it. And while it's just sitting there amongst all the bubbles, they think, oh, it's an injured fish that's survived being attacked, and they come up and smash it off the top. So quite often what we do is we'll have one guy with a popper, and just to bring the fish up, and we'll have another guy fishing a stick bait. And so, because the stick baits do tend to actually hook them a bit better, or they get them actually biting better, but the popper type lures bring them in. So that's one way of doing it.
Yep.
As I say, there's a lot of different options. It just happens that these ones were the closest.
Oh, okay.
The easiest way is usually just to troll, which is with a bibbed minnow, so like these ones here.
Yep.
And so all you need to do is go along around about sort of 6 to 8 knots, trolling one of these. That's actually not a bad size. That's pretty good.
So the size is like, what's the size for this?
That one there is 165 millimeters.
Oh, okay.
And of course you're trying to get a fish that's over 75, so you know you want to have a fairly decent sized one to attract that size of fish.
Yep.
These ones are more for tuna, like for catching tuna. And then of course we've got jigs underneath, and jigs in all cases of course you've got to have the rods and reels that suit the specific type of fishing you want to do.
Yep.
So if we're fishing with these, we want to have a casting rod, so the rod's going to be around about 7.5 to 8 feet long, so that we can really rip into it, cover a lot of area, and when we're doing the sweeps, it moves a lot of water and gives it a nice long wiggle underwater, then pops up. So the length is good. Of course, when you hook the fish, it's not so good because the length is used against you a bit like a crowbar, but that's something you just have to deal with. That's why a lot of the guys who do stick baits and popper fishing, they got big muscles, you know, because like they have to really hang on and try and stop these fish from going down into the reef.
Yep.
And it's the same with jigging. Jigging is probably the toughest way to go fishing, but it's one of the most effective. So using these here, they're long and skinny, so they go down really quickly.
Yep.
And these ones are really too big. Like unless you're going to the Three Kings or a place where there's very large kingfish, we don't need to worry about those. It's better to use ones like this around here because we're going to catch ones.
You mean like the area, like Little Barrier?
Yeah, this will be
this
fine.
One,
yeah.
This
around
also look very big.
Yeah, no, Auckland's fine. Yeah, what's that? Sorry.
This is also look big, eh?
That's what you need.
For,
yep.
For kingfish.
Yep. And do you know what? We'll even sometimes get snapper eating those.
Snapper.
Same their size. Yeah. So most times I'm going to be fishing 250 to 300 grams if I'm after kingfish, and so our rods are short and powerful, so that we can fish 50 to 80 pound line. So that equates to PE 5 to 8, because what you do is you add a 0 to get the approximate poundage. So that's 24 to 37 kilo. Because when you hook them, you need to stop them from going into the reef. If you can't stop them, then they're going to break you off. And also, very often in some of the places that are more popular, you're going to find that there are bronze whalers swimming around. And if you can't get them up quick enough, the bronze whalers are going to come up and eat your kingfish, which is what happened to another one of ours last week.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about getting them in quite smartly. And I just have 2 or 3 people I like going fishing with, because like we respect each other and we respect each other's spots. You know, we're not showing lots of people where we go because they won't stay good spots, you know, if that happens. And
so you mean like you have some special secret spots?
Kind of. I mean, some of them are very big secrets, you know, like for example, but they're well known. You know, like we just recently we've been fishing Great Barrier Island, and that's where we got all these kingfish. We only landed 2, but there were hundreds of kingfish that came up behind our lures when they did come. We were fishing for snapper, catching big snapper, all size snapper, and then we could see splashes coming towards us, and it was kingfish chasing a school of pilchards. Doesn't happen all the time. I was thinking whether I should go and grab my it's called a top water rod. Yeah. And I went, probably not going to be quick enough to do that. So how's it going? So I was not going to do it because I was catching big snapper. Yeah. And then my friend had one cast with his he had a stick bait, which is it's actually one of the ones around the corner on Maria. And he got a big kingfish on, and he was fighting it. And so I went, okay, I'll give it a go too. Quickly unwrapped my one, cast out, I got one as well, and we're both fighting big kingfish. It's only 12 kilos. I landed mine, his one got eaten by a bronze whaler. And then, so what we did is we just went slowly along, and one of us was fishing the stick bait, just pulling it along like this, as we just moved along the coastline, and here's me with my popper, just working my popper. And so they were coming up for the popper and taking the stick bait. even though I'd caught them on the popper before, it was just a good combination. They did prefer the stick bait, but without the noise of the popper, it wouldn't have been. They wouldn't have come in like that. So it can be a very good combination, and just being bothered to actually work them while you're moving along. So you're only going about 3 knots to allow us to pull it through the water, drop it back, pull it through the water, drop it back. And with poppers, it's a harder one. Yeah, going like that to make this bigger, harder splash. And yeah, it just works pretty well that way. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Or you can go and use live baits. That's definitely what I used to do. But to be honest, it's such a hassle to be, you got to take all the gear to go on, like rods and reels to catch your kahawai or mackerel or piper or whatever is available, because you never know from day to day what might be there. And some are really hard to catch, so I'd rather, this is almost like an instant live bait, to have something on the end of the rod that you can cast at a moment's notice, just like this time where we saw them splashing, we're fishing for snapper and go, oh, there we go, here's our chance to go and get kingfish. Grab a rod and reel all set up for it, cast out and hook up straight away.
So when you say like a big snapper, what's that mean? Like how big?
Like we caught them up to 20-pound snapper that day.
20, it's like
80
centimeters.
Well, actually, this one wasn't. It was quite short and fat. It was about 78 centimeters.
78 centimeters.
Yeah.
That's big, eh?
I was useless. I hooked 5 very big snapper, and I lost every single one. So one fell off.
Why you lost it? Like
because I was experimenting. I've only got a little rod and reel. Like I've just got little soft bait rods and reels like those over there.
Okay, this one.
So
like this one.
No, thinner than that. So that's like these. Just little ones like these. Okay, that's what we catch our big snapper on.
This one.
Yep.
So it's strong enough.
Yep. That's 15 to 20 pound.
50 to 20.
15 to 20. Yeah. So about 7 kilos to 10 kilos.
Yeah.
And this is made for casting lightly weighted imitation fish called soft plastic, which have inbuilt action. Like they, in fact, they're on here. So we have these.
Yeah.
And they, of course, they look just like a little fish. And we put them onto these lead heads here to go and cast and also make them go down. And we just work them in by wriggling them like this, so that the fish see them and it looks like an injured bait fish, and they come up and smash them. And as I say, honestly, we caught like 250 fish that day on soft baits, plus those 2 kingfish on
next
top
to
water.
Little Berry, you mean?
This is Great Barrier.
Great Barrier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the next day we got about 150, but still pretty good.
So you go for a day trip?
That day we went on an overnight one. We don't always do that sort of thing, but it was a fishing contest.
Okay.
And so it just meant that you have to spend a full day to be competitive.
Yeah.
It was the 3 biggest snapper combined, or the biggest snapper overall, or the biggest kingfish overall. So those were the sort of things we were trying to catch.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so those there great for soft plastics, but for you, like fishing for kingfish, it's going to be jigging or top water, which is a powerful rod capable of casting and then holding these fish.
Oh, okay.
Or putting a live bait out. There are ones that you could go jigging, a little short rod that's powerful, that could also be used for live baiting, putting down a live kahawai or mackerel, and also for trolling. So that's an option for you as well.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
That's okay. No worries at all. It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I've helped you. I've probably just made you more bewildered.
Nice to meet you again. And yeah.
Nice to see you again too.